Good morning. We are here today at the University of Russia to talk about Project Ancient Roman Cultural Heritage Interactive Visualization Environment for the cross-border area between Romania and Bulgaria. This is a project financed by Interreg 5A Romania-Bulgaria program, for which a total amount of approximately €495,000 was granted. Let's start by presenting who you are, your role in this project and experience. Please tell us a little about what the project aims to do, which are the main activities you have performed, and the results and accomplishment of this project.
Аз съм Михаил Илиев, професор съм в Русийския университет, съм декан на факултета по електротехника, електроника и автоматика. В екипа бях ръководител на проекта, един много сериозен екип, съставен от историци, археолози и, разбира се, водещата роля на Русийския университет на експертите по информационни и комуникационни технологии.
So, this is Professor Mikhail Iliev. He is the Dean of the Faculty of Electrotechnics, Electronics and Automation at the University of Russia. And he is also the manager of the project, the leading representative of the leading partner of the project, which is the University of Russia. And what he said is that the project was very successful and provided a very good environment for working together between historical peoples or archaeologists and museum workers, as well as from IT experts, which was the part of the expert team from the University of Russia. So, my name is Pavel Zakhariev. I am associate professor at the Department of Telecommunications at the University of Russia, and I was acting as coordinator for the lead beneficiary, which is the University of Russia. And
my name is Nikolai Neimov. I'm a professor by Museology. I'm the director of the Russia Regional Museum of History. And my colleagues, archaeologists, with the friends of Constanța Museum of Russia University, participate in this project. I think we have a very interesting results because for me and for my colleagues, we have a new level of knowledge after the project. And all of these results, it's very successful, I think, for our cooperation, for our towns, for our region, and, for example, for all of the Lower Danube.
Could you shortly describe, please, the main activities of the project?
So the project had several main activities besides the project management, of course, and the information and publicity. The main implementation activities were involving digitalization of the available heritage sites and the artifacts which were found at those heritage sites. But before moving to this, we had our friends from the Russia Regional Museum of History and from the Museum of National History and Archaeology of Constanța, which are the two partners in the project. We had them select those objects which will be and locations which will be the subject to those digitalization activities. So what they had to do was to analyze all major Roman heritage locations down the Danube River between Bulgaria and Romania, and based on this analysis they created a point-based assessment for those locations, and they have selected 8 locations from Bulgaria and 8 locations from Romania, which were let's say, the actual benefits of the digitalization activities. Now, we have, as a team, we have visited all those 16 locations, and with the help of archaeologists, with the help of historians, we have acquired historical data about those locations, and with the help of the Interreg program, we have purchased some very state-of-the-art equipment, including elementary vehicles, the so-called drones currently, and also modern digital cameras and 3D scanners and so on. And while we were visiting those locations, we have filmed those locations, and we have also created 3D models of those locations, which was also part of one of the later activity. Now, when we had this information, we formed a database consisting of many pictures, video clips, time lapses, panoramic images, also the 3D models, and some text-based materials and like old images, scans of books and so on. And when we had this database formed, we created several integrated tourism products, which are actually those tourism products are actually one of the output of the project. So we have created one internet-based platform which has information about all 16 locations and contains many of the materials of the project. And we will continue to host this platform, and we will continue to develop it and to upload new information in it for those 16 locations which were subject to the project, but also for many new locations which we are visiting now and we're being invited to visit now and to film and to digitalize. Now, after this platform was created, we also created two applications for mobile devices, one for Android, one for iOS, and they are freely available and they can be downloaded from the Apple App Store and from the Android application market, and all tourists can use those applications as guides to take a look at the objects, to play the video clips, to see some of the 3D models and so on. So this is one of the outcomes of the project. The other outcome of the project are actually two exhibitions. Those two exhibitions are currently open and they will be open in the next years for free visit for visitors, so they are included in the price of the ticket for visiting the corresponding location. So no revenue is generated from the project based on those exhibitions. Those exhibitions present 3D models of those artifacts that we have scanned and of the locations, and one of those exhibitions is hosted here at the Regional Museum of History in Brusel, and the other one is hosted at the Museum of National History and Archaeology in Constanța. Those exhibitions had a very huge impact and continue to have a very huge impact. We were invited by the Ministry of Tourism of Bulgaria to present this exhibition at the National Palace for Culture in Sofia. So we had this exhibition as a traveling exhibition in the capital of Bulgaria, where many archaeologists and many tourists, as well as many representatives of the local administration and of the national administration visited the exhibition and were amazed by what the modernized technology can make with let's say Roman fortresses and Roman artifacts, which were the aim of our project. And so we have achieved a very good dissemination of the project, and based on this exhibition the University of Brusel was invited to form a partnership with the Ministry of Tourism, and right now we are presenting the project and the outcomes of the project at the biggest tourism fair in the world, which is being hosted in London.
I have three more important points for me, from my point of view. Of course, Mr. Zakharev talked about our hard work in the field work, in scientist work in the laboratory, and many results. But I have three very important points. That first of them is the exhibition in the museums. We know our museums need of a lot of exhibitions, and this topic is exactly who represent all of the territory of Lower Danube. And second is the application for smartphones. If you're a real tourist today, first start to discovering who is the territory that you'll visit, and application is so useful for the tourists and for the dissemination of knowledge. And the last for me is so important, that is the management plan of Lower Danube area exactly for these 16 objects. The management plan is very so important because in the last years Bulgaria include the Lower Danube Roman limes in the tentative list of World Heritage Site, and I think that is one of very important steps to preserve this heritage for all of us.
Your project sounds very interesting so far. So if we go back in time before the design of your project, how did the idea came up? Is there any story or history behind?
Well, if I can answer this again, so back to me. The idea behind this project, so the idea behind the digitalization of cultural heritage is not a new one. So we are not making something completely new. However, the way we are doing it is completely innovative, and we are closing the entire cycle. The idea first came out to us in 2010 while we were visiting a museum in Sweden. So this museum in Sweden was built around a ship. So this was the flagship of the Swedish emperor back at the time. So it was the 15th and the 16th century. So this ship sunk during its maiden voyage because it was not properly calculated. It was bad design. But later the Swedish government found out where the ship is lying, and they took it out of the water and they built a museum around it. So this is a very huge museum. So it's a 6-story high museum. It is one of the world top 10 visitor attraction, and it is falling apart because after they have took out the ship from the water, it is slowly decaying, and in 20 years the ship will be no more. However, for those 20 years they are spraying it, they are trying to preserve it, to conserve it, but they are failing. So what they have made is to digitally recreate everything around the ship. So the museum is 6 stories high, and it contains on each story a different stage of the development of the ship or the life cycle of the ship. So the first story is how they have cut the woods in the back, how they have designed the ship, how they have constructed the ship. Then how the ship was tested, how it was decorated with many golden figures and many different things. Then how the ship sank, and what was the aftermath of the sinking to the Swedish Empire that followed and so on. And then how the ship was initially discovered, how it was taken out, how the museum was built and so on. So this museum had a many digital corners inside of it. It had its own cinema center for playing different movie clips inside of it. It had many 3D models of, let's say, the faces of the sailors that were part of this voyage and that died on the ship when it was sinking. It had many small-scale miniatures of different stages of the ship, like the construction, the sinking of the ship, its excavation, and so on. So what we saw there was how an archaeological object, so a historical object, which is slowly decaying, so is being slowly destroyed, was turned into a huge tourist attraction using the modern information and communication technologies. So when we came back to Bulgaria, we got in contact with Professor Nenov and his team from the museum here in Russia, and we presented to them this idea, and they said, okay, let's try to do something similar like this. So we formed up a team, and we submitted one project proposal, which was under the Bulgarian program also. This was only a Bulgarian project, which was luckily for us, or sadly for us, not evaluated, so it was not funded. And this provided us with the possibility to think of how we can improve this project proposal and how we can improve it and invite new participants into it. So when the Interact program came to life, and when the first call for project was launched, we said, oh, this is a perfect opportunity, because one of the priority access was exactly for this, for preservation of the cultural heritage. So we got in contact again with Professor Nenov. We asked them to develop this idea. So the old idea was it was more about churches, and it was more about religious historical sites. So we said how we can work with this with our Romanian partners, and they said, a very hot topic is currently the Roman heritage. So they put us in contact with the museum in Constanța, and they were very happy to join us in this proposal. So they pretty much outlined the core of the project. So what the project will be aimed at, and how the IT technologies will be used for those Roman fortresses. And this is actually the story behind the project. So we got partially this idea from what the people have done in Sweden, but we developed it and we created new things that were embedded in the application form, like the use of 3D scanners, the use of modern eco-friendly 3D printers, the use of unmanned aerial vehicles to create 3D models of the entire historical sites, because we saw many 3D models in the museum in Sweden, but they were only of artifacts, so there was not no big no good looking 3D model of the ship or the locations and so on. So we used the modern unmanned aerial vehicles to create 3D models of the entire Roman fortresses. So right now people are available and they can see not only the artifacts, they can see the entire locations. They can see, let's say, a Sixaginta fortress, and they can see the tower, they can see the Chervan fortress, and they can see the only remaining battle tower on the territory of Bulgaria and so on, as a 3D model, as an entire 3D model. So this is the story behind the project. Topic, and the digitalization, the visualization technologies are currently a very, very trendy and very hot thing, and many institutions are using them worldwide because they allow the preservation and the popularization in the most innovative and most modern ways of the forgotten history and the cultural heritage which is lying on our territories.
Най-важното, че популяризирането става с технологии, които са присъщи на младите хора.
And the most important thing is that this popularization is done using technologies which are very familiar to the young people, to the young generation, to this digital generation. So basically, this is the good technologies which are available to them and they are using on a daily basis.
This actually brings me to the next question, which is, in your opinion, which is the added value that the project brought in the eligible area. So if you have something you want to add on that.
Okay, I will start. We have many friends and that is the colleagues from the Museum of Romania. And this project is absolutely new level of our competitions, of our common work, because in the previous decade we know each other, some of the object, but not like systematically position of all of these Roman forts, Roman fortresses and the towns. And in the same time we have many artifacts in the museums, many names of gods, of the citizens, of soldiers. And if you have an opportunity to share all of this knowledge with the more people, with the contemporary technology, with this digital technology, I think this is very successful for our presentation. And this is possible to create the connection not only between us, between Bulgaria and Romania. We create all of these contacts with all the world, because the Roman Empire is the basis of Europe, for example. And finally, the project really creates connections between different levels of sciences, technological sciences and historical, museology, and I think it's a very important line that supports all our work in this project, and the results, it's very clear.
And also there is the link with the tourists as well, because tourists can benefit from your...
Absolutely, the focus in the tourists is so important, and all of this field work and scientist work is to have a product who is useful for the ordinary tourist.
From your experience in implementing the project, which was the most rewarding experience and the most difficult point?
Well, I will not lie. This project was a very difficult project. This was a pilot initiative, so we have created something that was not done previously in the world. I mean, so there are many different digitalization activities which are undergoing in different museums right now, but no one is closing the entire cycle. So what we have done, we have selected specific locations and specific artifacts. We have acquired historical information about them. We have created digital content about those locations and those artifacts. We have processed this content, and we have created new digital products, and finally we have used the modern information technologies to create those exhibitions, those 3D models, and actually to create new products which are available to the tourists. So this is a very difficult process. We had a lot of problems in the process, mainly technical, because this was not something that we have done previously, and no one has done this previously. So many museums are scanning their artifacts, but they are not processing those models. They are not printing those models. They are not creating replicas of those models as new exhibitions and so on. The good thing, the most important thing in this project is that we have managed to combine the heritage in Romania and the heritage in Bulgaria, and to create one common exhibition. So right now in the Museum in Constanța you can see artifacts which originals are being displayed in the museums in our region, in Bulgaria here. And in our exhibition you can see artifacts and locations which are currently in Romania. So in this way, when the tourists come here with the ships or by cars or by buses and so on, they have few new products that they are available to see, few modern products that they are available to see. Now, this project was a huge experience to us, and it has also presented to us some knowledge which we have used to let's say to develop ourselves and to seek new ways on how we can build up on this knowledge and how we can proceed with this, because you know this thing is a huge thing. This is going to be the way how the museums and how not only the museums, how many institutions are going to operate in the future. So digital content is going to go into education. It is going to go into medicine. It is going to go into museums, into schools, in every basically in every life moment of our daily life. So it is going to be part of our daily life. So this is why this project was very useful, and it basically presented us with new opportunities, and we're going to use those opportunities to develop ourselves and to develop the indirect regions of the region between Romania and Bulgaria.
Yes. So having in mind all the pluses and minuses of this project, would you do it again?
Exactly the same project? Probably not exactly the same project, because or at least not at the same area, because what we have done under this project, we have selected the 16 most valuable sites in our region. And there are many more. There are, like, according to our colleagues, there are more than I don't know, maybe 400 Roman fortresses and sites along the eMS. Now we cannot digitalize them all. Some of them are hard to reach, some of them are not developed as tourist attractions and so on. And this is going to be a huge effort, and it requires a much larger team than ours to do it for all the locations. But if we're going to continue with projects in a similar fashion, which involve digitalization and visualization technology, yes, we are. And we have actually used this opportunity, and we have applied for several new projects, including new projects under the third call of the Interreg 5A program. And we are strongly hoping that we will get our application approved, because this application will be like an extension of this project, something that we have developed, not part of the project, and might be very valuable for the tourists. What we aim in this new project is to actually develop 6 new tourist products, and those projects will include holographic projectors, which will be installed in 4 new pilot installations in 4 museums. So the Museum of the Iron Gates region in Romania, the Lower Danube Museum in Călărași, also the museum in Silistra, and the regional museum in Russia. Those are the partner museums. Those are the beneficiaries of the project that will receive those 6 new tourist products, and Those products will include the holographic displays, which will display 3D models that we have created and that we plan to create in the future. They will also include the information kiosks and information systems, which will display the video clips and the products that we have already developed and the future products that the museums will develop. They will also include digital corners, for instance, photo booths with backgrounds on pictures and products that we have created under this project and that we will create for the future. They will also have visitors corner where we will have chairs for the visitors to sit down and take a look at the movies, something like the thing that we saw in Sweden. We're trying to implement here so that we can keep the tourists here. But we also plan to do some very new and pilot projects, including the development of a mobile application that, using the QR codes, will allow the users to obtain interesting information about the artifacts and new things about artifacts. We are also aiming to develop a VR game, a virtual reality game, that will allow all users to have a walk around a virtual museum, to discover the artifacts in this virtual museum, and also to solve puzzles. Like, for instance, the first stage will be a Roman artifact that is broken apart, and the users have to combine it so that they can pass to the next level, where they will have to solve different questions and so on. And we are going to use this to bring people to the museums. How? We're going to install special plates on special locations in the museums, where the people using this application, where they can go and they can scan the information from those plates, and they will unlock bonus content of the games. So they will be forced, in order to unlock new levels and in order to obtain new digital content, they will be forced to go to the museums. And besides seeing all this, they will see also what is available there. And we're also planning to do something that has been very popular lately in the Western world, and is not that popular in Bulgaria or Romania right now. We're planning to do 2 dedicated 3D mapping events, which will be presented on the buildings of the museums. So those 3D mapping events will involve the most modern projection devices. So special content will be developed based on the Interreg program, on the locations which are part of this future application of this future project, and also they will contain different historical aspects of the museums and of the areas. And imagine this: the building of your museum, let's say Kalarashi or the Arangues Museum, entirely repainted using 3D projection, and this is in 3D and it's changing and so on. And this is going to be tourist events. They will be invited there, they will receive tickets, and if they stay for those 2 days, because we're planning to do it for 2 days, if they stay on both 2 days and they have the stand for the 2 days, they will participate in a raffle, and they might also win prizes and so on. So those are all IT products which the world is using to attract new tourists and to disseminate and to popularize what is available, and we are still not catching up with the world. So this is how we are aiming to do it for the future. And of course we're stepping on this project because what we have learned from this project is going to be very valuable for the next application. So if it is not under the Interreg, we're hoping to do it under another program. So.
Please.
This project it's so important for us, like a team, to understand what we need for himself. With this project we present many of topics of Roman fortress, and we collect the knowledge about this fortress and present from the new audiences. But we live in the situation that all the world invests in the museums. For example, Hermitage from St. Petersburg opened a new Hermitage in the Netherlands. This day will be opened the Louvre in Abu Dhabi. And these examples is so important to understand that we need support exactly for the museum, because the knowledge of these Roman fortresses, objects and keep in our museums. And all of these new modern things, virtual reality and another is so important. We need this support with this technical issue to reopened for our public, to attract more of the public, and that is, I think, it's next level is so important for the teams, and I think for our museums in Bulgaria and Romania.
Thank you very much for your time and for this interesting conversation, and we wish you good luck in future projects.
Thank you.